Not everything that breaks is an error. A lot of the time, you need additional context to help figure out what's going on beyond the stack traces. That's where logs are super handy. Let me show you what I'm talking about. We have this Web Vitals application that is powered by AI, and what it does is anytime you put in a domain, it executes a couple of tool calls, it gets the data about the Web Vitals of that domain, and then uses an agent to parse and give you suggestions on how to improve your Web Vitals. When I was testing it locally, or when I deployed to production and tested in Chrome, everything was working as expected. But if I go to Firefox, in this case it's Zen, but it's a Firefox wrapper, and I do the same thing, I get this access denied error. Now, what's happening in the code? This is a Next.js application that's using the AI SDK. As you can see here, I have the use chat hook. I'm hooking it up to a transport and it's pinging the API chat route in the application. And when there's an error, I obviously capture the exception with Sentry and I pass it some additional context. On the back end though, it is just a standard API endpoint, so anybody can call it from anywhere. Vercel has this amazing bot ID protection that, when enabled, will make sure that if a bot is accessing your endpoint, it is denied. I don't want any malicious activity on this endpoint that spikes up my OpenAI bill, and so it was really easy to implement. All you do is bring in the check bot ID function, and then you can check for is bot, and if it is a bot, you can return a response with access denied. It's very simple, it's out of the way, so you don't need any CAPTCHA solving for finding streetlights or crosswalks, and it works really well. But let's see what's going on in the logs. So I have this log here for bot ID check result that is returning whether or not it is a bot and what the user agent that was passed along to this function was at the time of function invocation. This is typically how bot protection works, is it looks at the user agent and checks if it's coming from a regular agent, it's fine. If it's something fishy, then it denies the access. Let's head over to Sentry and take a look at what's going on. I have this access denied error here in Sentry. You can see that there are a bunch of events for this error that are happening across multiple browsers, specifically Safari and Firefox, and a few releases that try to attempt to fix it with no luck so far. I want to head over to logs and take a look at some of the ones that I care about. Here I can search for the logs that I care about, which is the bot ID check result. I want to make sure that it is case insensitive. And I also want to see in the table the attribute of isBot, which is a Boolean, but in Sentry right now it's zeros and ones. So 0 means false, 1 means true. And let's take a look at a couple. This one here has a Chrome user agent, which is fine. And let's take a look at the one that failed. You can see here right away that this is getting the AI SDK user agent, and I'm not really happy about that. Just to verify, because everything in Sentry is trace connected, I can actually go back to the trace view and see that this was actually happening within Firefox to solidify my hunch that something is wrong, specifically in Firefox and Safari. And to solve this, all I have to do is go to Vercel and go to the firewall rules and add a new rule for the AI SDK bypass that checks for the user agent that contains AI SDK and bypasses the firewall rule. Let's save it. Sentry.io. And voila, we're now back in action. Because this is a new application, I was using the Sentry Logger API, but if you have existing logging in place with things like Pinyo or anything else, head over to our documentation and take a look at the logging integration we have, and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks, bye.